Hi, this is Preetika Rao. Welcome to my Astrology Podcast, and today we are doing 2025 predictions. I have with me none other than Navneet Chitkara, one of the best astrologers we have in India today. And as you know, this channel trended astrology podcasts in India on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram like never before. And I have always made sure that I call very good and accomplished astrologers, because a lot of content creators have now started doing astrology podcasts, following in my footsteps. But the mistakes that they do is that A, they don't know astrology, and B, they are not inviting the correct guests on their podcast. So I'm looking forward for a very authentic prediction of for 2025 for 12 zodiac signs. But at the same time, please remember that these predictions are going to be very generic. Why? Because planets are different for different people in their respective horoscopes, right? So it depends on not only the transits. This year we're going to have 3 major transits. Saturn is moving, Jupiter is moving, Rahu and Ketu are moving. And when you have 3 major planets having major transits, a lot can change in your life pattern, okay? So, and most of these transits are happening post March and May. But we're going to give you some excellent remedies which are still going to help you. And for that we have Navneet Chitkara ji.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your channel.
My pleasure, and thanks for being back. Now I want to just directly start with predictions. So first we're going to do 12 zodiac signs from the Lagna and also Moon Rashi. Right?
Preetika ji, before we begin Aries, there's one thing which I want to clarify to all our viewers, is that this is a question which was there in my mind when I was learning Jyotisha, was what is the difference between looking at a transit from the Lagna, means ascendant, and from your Rashi, which is your moon sign.
Right.
There is always this question where says, shall I do this remedy or shall I do this from the moon or from the Lagna, how it is going to impact, always that confusion. Let me clarify that our scriptures, they consider transits from moon sign.
Okay.
Whenever a scripture is, we're reading a book or a shastra, the transit is coming from the moon. That's what they're saying.
Can you just quickly explain to them what is the Lagna or the ascendant? So a lot of people think that, oh, I'm born in March, I'm born in April, so I'm an Aries, or I'm born in May or June, I'm a Gemini. That's not how it works. What we are talking about is your Lagna Kundali ascendant, okay?
Right.
So the first rising sign that's the sign you are.
So Lagna will influence the intelligence, the moon will influence the psychology.
So for people to know where their moon sign is, just look at where your moon is in the horoscope and you will know that is your sign. Like for instance, if moon is in 5, it's a Leo moon. As simple as that.
Yeah. So now we talk about the 3 major transits as you've mentioned. For me, every transit is very important. But if you talk about Mars or Venus or Mercury, they're very short transits. They spend 30-40 days, in particular zodiac sign, and then they go. For an example, if you're going to somebody's place for an hour, right, how much can you influence that person? But if you're going it for a month, then there's a lot of preparation from your side and the other person as well.
Yes.
Right. That is why we consider these transits, which are longer transits, are very important. For an example, Saturn will remain in Pisces for almost 3 years because of retrogression and going back, coming back. Right. So this transit happens on March 29th, 2025, will remain till Feb 23rd, 2028.
Wow.
It's like almost 3 years
In Pisces.
in Pisces. And Rahu Ketu transit is almost for 18 months by end of May. So you can say by end of May, Rahu and Ketu will change their zodiac sign. So Rahu will go in Aquarius,
Right.
and Ketu will come in Leo. And it will be there till December of 2026. 18 months almost,
Okay.
right? And for Jupiter, it's going to be almost 13 months of transit. So it coming in sign of Gemini on 14th of May and will remain till June 2026 in the sign of Gemini. However, it will be transiting to Cancer, coming back, retrograde, all these things will happen. When Saturn enters the sign of Pisces, the first thing that will happen to, in a generic way, to a lot of people is they are going to lose weight, physical weight, if you look at from the Lagna. Why? Because 12th sign, Pisces, is water. Most of the people have not body fat, but they have water retention.
Yes.
Right? And when Saturn goes there, it removes the water retention from the body.
Okay.
Right? That's the first thing. Look at the chart of Mahatma Gandhi. Right? When you look at the chart of Mahatma Gandhi, the 11th Lord is in the 12th house, which is also a Badak planet for him, which is Sun. So he is Libra ascendant, right?
Achha.
And he has his Sun, which is the 11th Lord, in the 12th house. So a Badak planet for him, sitting in the 12th house, he was lean whole his life. Right? So especially for Aries Lagna, the same combination is coming. The 11th Lord Saturn, which is a Badak planet, is going in the 12th house. You will find suddenly Aries people losing weight.
A lot of Arians will be happy,
Right?
if they're looking to lose weight.
The water retention will go away, and it's not going to be easy game. They'll have a state of mind there where they want to go to gym. They're very super conscious about what they're eating, and they'll start to work out for long hours, 2 hours, 3 hours in the gym, and then suddenly the water retention is gone, and then they start looking more leaner. But on the same time, when it comes to their work, because Saturn is also the 10th and the 11th Lord in the Aries sign, there is going to be a tug of war. Why? Because they want to run away from certain situations, and Saturn is going to bring them back.
Oh, okay.
Right? For an example, you may be very optimistic about getting financially free in life, and you want to set up a business, and which is an automated business where the money is coming and you're financially free, maybe a rental income or something. But then Saturn is going to say no, it's not going to happen. So you have to be very careful with your investments,
Okay.
with your work, because you will have a frame of mind to be liberated and to be super successful, and you may overdo things, but Saturn is going to stop you from those, doing overdo things. Or another problem with Saturn here would be that if you are making any large investments, you will feel stuck. Right? Because you thought that it's like ocean, I'm buying an ocean, but Saturn comes there and says no, you're not buying an ocean. Ocean doesn't belong to you. You have lot of karmas left. That is why a natural Badaka Graha going into house of investments is not good.
Okay.
Because 12th house is not isolation only, it's also house of investments. When you invest something, it's in the 12th house, because you are giving away money. You may say you are losing money, or you may say you are investing money, because eventually the money is gone out of your pocket.
Okay.
Right? That's where you have to be careful. But on the same time, when Saturn moves from Purva Bhadrapada to Uttara Bhadrapada and eventually to Revati,
Okay.
that is the time where Aries will start showing direction to the people. That look, I did this, I found out that this is not easy, stop here. So it is also going to be learning phase in 2026 for the people who are Aries ascendant or Aries Rashi.
Okay. So Lagna and Moon sign. Aries.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So ideally for Aries Lagna, this is a transit of mixed results.
Okay.
Especially the Saturn. Right. You may feel isolated. You may feel alone. You may feel delay in certain works. You may feel restricted. Maybe your enthusiasm is restricted a bit because you were thinking that, okay, I'll do everything now. I have this thing, or I have this particular money coming from my parents and I can invest it and I'll become financially free. The answer is no. Share, crypto, real estate investments, you need to take care. Right? Otherwise, the investments may go wrong.
Acha.
The results may not be as expected. But definitely it is going to make you disciplined, right, about your emotions, because 12th house is emotions and Saturn is disciplined. Right? So that's something which is going to happen.
Okay.
On the same time, Rahu moves to Aquarius for Aries, right, and Ketu is in the 5th house.
Okay.
Now that's a very comfortable place for Rahu. Rahu loves Aquarius.
Yeah.
And there is there's a formula, or there is a concept which has come from Raj Jyotish.
Okay.
The concept says that if you have any planet, be it Rahu Ketu, in the 5th house and the 11th house,
Okay.
it is a Saraswati yoga.
Either Rahu or either Ketu.
I mean, obviously Rahu Ketu will be there.
In any of the houses.
So in the 5th house and in the 11th house of your horoscope,
Yeah.
be it any Lagna,
Yeah.
if you have planets,
Yeah.
even Rahu Ketu,
Oh.
okay?
Okay.
So if you have planets, it is a Saraswati yoga. And all these viewers here, any one of you, if you have a planet in the 5th house and the 11th house of your horoscope, 29th year of your life is a platform for you where the career, moves to the highest level. From there, it is the beginning. And that Saraswati yoga gets activated at the age of 29. Right? So now for Aries, we have Rahu coming in its own sign,
Yeah.
and Ketu in the sign of Leo, which is making a Saraswati yoga for Aries,
Okay.
where there'll be lot of learning. Maybe you can set up a platform for you from where you can launch your business. Maybe you will get lot of recognition in the society, because 11th house is also society. Lot of people say that Rahu doesn't give you spirituality, Rahu gives you illusion. But Rahu in its Mula Trikona signs and its an own sign has capability to give you lot of spirituality.
Right.
That's a wrong way of looking at Rahu. Right? So definitely your status in the society, if you are in the profession of YouTube or Insta or public promotions, or you are into public relations, it's a fantastic transit for you. You should utilize these 18 months because it is going to be a blast. Rahu, wherever it goes, and it's going into the air sign. Air is one element which wants to penetrate everywhere without an effort.
Right.
Right? So you will penetrate to every area of society, of samaj, of social media, and you can get a lot of success. On the same time, when you get success in Aquarius, Ketu in the 5th house, in the sign of Leo for Aries, is going to give you a lot of spirituality. Right? Because Ketu will give you certain mantras that you will keep on repeating whole day. Because now, whatever success you have achieved, you want to sustain that success. And you can only sustain that success if you have spirituality with you, if you have discipline with you. And Ketu in the 5th house is going to pull out all your punya karmas of the past, because it is 9th from 9th,
Right.
and it will bring in table for you. That is another beautiful thing with Ketu, but on the same time, you can get detached from your romantic relationships,
Yes.
which is in the 5th house.
Yes, I've
right?
seen that in horoscopes.
Also, you can be detached from your children a little bit, or the children may get detached from you,
Right.
because you'll be overly busy in your work and trying to create a platform for yourself. So that's what happens with Ketu here. But again, I would consider personally this to be a better transit than the previous transit, because the previous transit has given a lot of problems related to stomach, because Ketu in the 6th house will give you bacterial infections, and because 5th house is stomach, 6th house is the digestion. So Ketu has really given a bad effect on the digestion. But in the 5th house, right, you'll start feeling better. I've seen many Aries Lagna or Aries sign people, they have felt problems in their digestion. They've gone through severe IBS in last 18 months, which will be a say of relief when you have this Rahu Ketu transit.
Okay.
On the same time, for Jupiter, now Jupiter comes to the 3rd house. Jupiter doesn't like to be there in the 3rd house, right, for Aries ascendant. Why? See, the 3rd house is a house of fight.
Marankarak for Jupiter.
Yes, it is a Marankarak sthana for Jupiter. And what exactly is Marankarak sthana? The word looks very heavy, Marankarak sthana. But the actual meaning of Marankarak sthana is that a planet is not happy about what is happening in that house.
Okay.
Right? For an example, you have Ardra Nakshatra in the sign of Gemini. Now, Ardra is what? Ardra is breaking rules. Ardra is, breaking traditions. And Jupiter doesn't like that one should break traditions. Suddenly, from research and development, from being very ethic, from being not changing anything, from not being taking any risk, which is Mrigasira. Mrigasira will not take any risk in life. Mrigasira will research and then say, okay, these are the pros, these are the cons. Okay, I will not change it. Suppose you have Mrigasira in the 7th house. Those people will do very traditional marriages, no experiment.
Acha.
Just to give you an example.
Okay.
So Jupiter was very happy there, but now it has come to Ardra, where the rules are now breaking. Right? The energy is a very stormy and warm and wet and turbulent energy. And that is where, Jupiter doesn't like to break those traditions.
Yeah.
And that is why that is a Maranakarak sthana for Jupiter.
What if Jupiter becomes retro and goes to 3rd house?
See, what happens with retrogression is that suppose, you started a thing 6 months ago and you did not complete it through your heart and soul.
Okay.
You just completed it.
Okay.
And you thought that ye to chal gaya, people have overlooked it, that's fine. Now when Jupiter goes retrograde, someone will come up to you that, hey Preetika ji, 6 months ago you did this, which was not right. Can you recheck please?
Okay.
Right, I had the same case. There was a guy who stole a bag, from a store, from the airport, right? And he came home, and when Jupiter got retrograde, he got a mail from the store people that either you return it, or you pay for it, or will lodge a complaint against you. So retrogression is that whatever you've done in the past, it will come in front of you. Suppose you planned a trip, because 3rd house is short trips, but somehow it did not manifest. The moment Jupiter gets retrogrades, you will go for that trip.
Acha.
The positive thing about retrogression. Okay. So it takes you back, it makes you revise those things and come back and rework on your, things that you have done.
Okay.
And these things can create frustration. You suddenly, so you're looking ahead and someone calls you to, look at a thing which you've done 6 months ago.
Acha.
It is a frustration that ye kahan se aa gaya. That's what a problem is. That is the meaning of retrogression, and that gives you obsession, right? So if Jupiter goes retrograde, you will be obsessed about certain things that you've done in the past. Why? Because they're coming in front of you again to rectify them, recheck them.
Achha.
And that suddenly will cause delay as well.
Okay.
Right? But there's one saying, Preetika ji, it's again coming from Raj Jyotish, is that wherever Jupiter sit, he may not be happy about that position, but wherever Jupiter looks at, he's happy about it.
True.
Right? So Jupiter from there is going to look at the 7th house.
Okay.
Lot of marriage opportunities. People who are not married, looking for matches in Aries, you'll get those opportunities. Right? Partnership opportunities. You can meet your guru because it is going to aspect the 9th house. It's going to expand your 9th house, long distance travels. Also, it is going to stabilize your Rahu as well, because from the 9th aspect, it is aspecting Rahu as well from the 3rd house.
Okay.
So which is again a very beautiful thing for Aries. So even if your Jupiter is not very happy in the 3rd house, you're going to watch what you speak. You may, be uncomfortable with your younger brother, or maybe you want to propose someone. So Jupiter will not allow you to propose. He will ask, okay, you go ask your parents, and they set marriage for you. That's where Jupiter is at Maran Karak Sthana. People who have Jupiter in the 3rd house, they are not able to propose. They'll come and tell their father that I like this girl, I want to marry. Can you go and talk to her father? Right? That's where the problem is with Jupiter in the 3rd house. That it is not helping the 3rd house, but by drishti it is helping the 7th house, getting you married through your parents, right? Because 3rd house is house of proposal. If you are proposing someone, you should have strong planets in the 3rd house, otherwise you won't. 3rd from the 3rd is 5th, which is the work of the 3rd house is 5th, which is romance. And 3rd from there is 7th, when you get married. So the prakram bhavas are 3, 3, 3.
Achha.
That's how the marriage happens. You propose, you are in a romantic relationship, and then you get married.
True.
That's the axis. So Jupiter there stops that.
Okay.
That's where people with Jupiter in the 3rd house, or Jupiter in the Lagna, they face problems in marriage. So for Aries, it's an opportunity to build their platform because of the Saraswati Yoga happening in 5-11 axis. Transit of Rahu and Ketu. Saturn goes to the 12th house, which will also give them restriction for their liberation, right? And Jupiter in the 3rd house will give them opportunities, but in a very traditional way.
Okay.
Right? Another thing is that when we are considering transits, we should also, consider planets which are present in those signs.
Absolutely.
For an example, this is a traditional method of understanding Jupiter transit.
Okay.
Is suppose you have any planet from where the Jupiter is going to pass. Suppose you have Saturn, and Saturn is really troubling you, Aries people, and Jupiter is going to move over your Saturn. It's Guru coming towards Saturn and telling Saturn, please forgive this person. But the condition is that for 1 year, those 13 months, you have to give 100% to your spirituality, to your mantras, to your spiritual visits. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in whichever house the Jupiter is transiting, it gives you an opportunity there to revive your karma through spirituality. So if you have a worst planet, a Rahu, or maybe any other planet, Mars or Sun or Mercury, right, which are troubling you being in a particular lagna, and Jupiter passes over it, is that 1 year opportunity of settling down that planet. Because Guru is going to come, and definitely if you make Guru happy, he's going to say that, hey, stop troubling that native.
Wow.
So this opportunity you get after 13 months, 13 years, because Jupiter comes in a particular sign takes 12 to 13 years to reach that sign again. So it is a circle of 13 years where if you have trouble, you know, in the 6th house and your Jupiter has reached the 3rd house, so probably another 4 years you're going to get an opportunity to solve that issue in the 6th house when Jupiter comes on the 6th house or on the 6th zodiac sign.
This year they're going to get how many, how much time frame? Jupiter?
They have almost 1 year, 1 year, 13 months to be exact, because it's coming in May and going out in June next year.
Okay.
So this is an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, that if you have planets in the 3rd house, Aries, or you have planets from the Aries moon sign in the 3rd, right, Jupiter can solve the issues related to those, you know, grahas. And that is again, you know, when we check a horoscope in totality, because when we look at transits, it's the 3rd thing we check. The first thing we check is the horoscope in totality, then we check the dashas, right, and then we check the transits, right. So that's how you should look at a particular horoscope.
Okay, okay. And is there any relief, any remedy or any relief?
You know, the problem was with Jupiter in the Maranakarak Sthana, the 3rd house, aspecting. So whenever you have, you know, Jupiter, it's your Guru mantra, or if you are not initiated by a Guru, then the best remedy for Aries people would be Dakshina Murti Stotram. You should listen to Dakshina Murti Stotram for 1 year. You'll feel a lot of relaxation.
Right. So, do we move on to Taurus?
Yes. Preetika ji, talking about Taurus, this is for Taurus Lagna as well as
Moon.
The Taurus moon sign. Will have Jupiter transiting in the 2nd house, which is the sign of Gemini for Taurus. Rahu and Ketu are going to be in the Kendras, right? So Rahu is going to be there in the 10th house and Ketu in the 4th house. Similarly, Saturn is going to transit in the 11th house. For Taurus, there's a lot of good news, right? Because Jupiter in the 2nd house is going to give you, you are going to have reforms about your wealth. You see, 2nd house is not about the monetary wealth, right? 2nd house is your value system of life, the things that you value the most. That is why it says Kutumba. Kutumba means family.
Right.
So if you have family, you will definitely value family over your wealth.
Yes.
Right? Again, 2nd house is about food, about your taste buds. So you value that the most. You want good things to eat. So when Jupiter goes there in the 2nd house, it helps you improve your value system of the family.
Right.
That's something which is the requirement of Taurus. You know what? Taurus Rashi or Taurus Lagna people will have naturally disturbed families. Okay? And why would that be? Because in the 4th house, you have a cruel planet, Surya. You know, the 4th house will be through Surya. So Surya is like discipline, unapproachable. If you talk about all the 9 planets, I would say Surya is the most cruel planet.
It will burn that place wherever
it will burn. It is unapproachable. Right? So how about if you have family where people are completely unapproachable? They're living their own life.
Right.
Right? For an example, if you have Scorpio Lagna, right, or a Scorpio moon sign, the 4th house belongs to Saturn. You will feel dryness within the family. People would be dry. Right? So for Taurus, when you have Jupiter coming in the 2nd house, it is a beautiful opportunity to enhance your value system. Right? On the same time, a malefic graha in the Kendra, especially for Taurus, right, or the Lagnas or zodiac signs which belong to Shukra or Shani or Buddha, these malefic planets in the Kendra is a Raj Yoga. So there will be reforms with respect to work. For an example, Rahu coming in the 10th house can put you your mind, or put your business into maybe artificial intelligence. Maybe out of the blue, you will think of opening another company in information technology, or maybe you want to switch a job, or maybe you get an opportunity of which you were dreaming from many years, and now the Rahu will come and give it to you. But because you get that opportunity in the 10th house, because Rahu is making a Raj Yoga there, Ketu will destroy little bit about your family life. Why? Because if you are busy there, right, you will ignore your family. That's what Ketu will do.
It could also take you away from like travel,
exactly,
away from your house.
From your motherland, from the family, right? So again, wherever you have Rahu Ketu in your horoscope, it is always a problem in managing those houses.
Shifting bhi ho sakti hai ghar ki.
Exactly. So even that can happen. There can be a construction, renovation that can happen, because Ketu is also Karaka of made up houses, the complete ready to move houses. Right? So you may buy a ready to move, a house, or maybe you invest money into ready to move project, right? And give that on a rent, right? On the same time, the Saturn in the 11th house is also very, very good. But on the same time, Saturn in the 11th house aspecting your Lagna will hamper your decision making ability. It's exactly opposite for the Saturn. Wherever Saturn sits, he's happy about it, but wherever Saturn looks, he restricts that. वो restrict कर देता है उस चीज को.
अच्छा.
So for the Taurus people, everything will be happening, but they will still feel as if things are slow, which is also a natural problem with Taurus. Right? They think that every time something is coming in their life, it's slow, it's not up to the mark, and they want things quickly. Right? Even if you look at Shri Krishna, look at the family life of Shri Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, what he wants to say is that things should be on time. You have very less time left in this body. You need to work hard. And that is where the expectation of people who are born as Taurus rising or Taurus moon sign, the expectations are way higher than any other sign. So that is why you will find super rich people who've done so many things in their life being born as a Taurus Lagna. Right? The sign of natural wealth.
Yeah.
Right? And you go to any wealthy person, he will always say, no, we are still missing on many things. We need to do this. We need to open another, vertical and this and that. That's all about Taurus. So for Taurus, it's a happy news. All these three transits are some way or the other are going to benefit you. It is going to create value system. If you are aspiring to go away from your motherland, Ketu is going to help you. Rahu is going to create opportunities at work, and Saturn is again going to give you those, because Saturn is a natural benefic graha for you, right? And it's going to give you a lot of, profits, and you'll be doing well in the society. You'll be treated as someone who is very, very disciplined, hardworking person in the society the moment Saturn comes into your 11th house. So that's where I'm happy for the people who are Taurus Lagna or the Taurus moon sign, but everything will depend upon what dasha you are running. Right? Yes. That's something which is very, very important, because mind you people, that Ketu is going to transit in Magha. Right? Magha is a nakshatra which is directly related to ancestral bliss and curses. Okay. So if you have a Pitri dosha in your horoscope, so then Ketu transit is going to trouble you a lot, irrespective of whatever dasha you are running. Because Magha is all about Pitri's energy. Magha is all about the making of a king. It's the beginning. That's why it's there in the 5th house of natural zodiac sign, where you make kings.
Okay.
Leo is king.
Right.
right? So that is why everything will depend when you check your horoscope in totality, right? For Taurus people, since we have, the problem is in the second house, right? Because of the Jupiter, the best thing one can do is Durga Devi sadhana. So one single word mantra, Namas Chandikaya, is the mantra for Taurus people. So they can chant, they can sit looking at Devi and keep chanting Namas Chandikaya, Namas Chandikaya, Namas Chandikaya. That's the only mantra, right?
How many times?
10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or usually, at least minimum 2 malas. 1 mala means 108 times. So it has to be at least 216 times. That's minimum. But I think you should more focus on time. If you can do it for 10, 15 minutes, that's fine.
Can they also do Durga Saptashati?
Yes, they can do Durga Saptashati, they can do Durga Chalisa. It will really, really help.
Okay. So you can also listen to these on YouTube if you don't know how to read it.
Correct.
True. That's why you need astrologers.
Yeah. So otherwise, it's a good, 1 year for Taurus people.
I'm glad he said that, because just this morning I was seeing a podcast where another astrologer was saying Taurus is going to go through hell and blah and everything. And most of her predictions were all going, everywhere, all over the place. So I'm glad.
All right, for Gemini people, Jupiter is going to come in the Lagna. Now, whenever Jupiter comes in the Lagna, the nature of Jupiter is expansion. So you need to be careful because you can gain weight. Because Lagna is also your intelligence, but also your physical body, right? So people who are going through bad dashas or any hormonal problems, suddenly they can gain weight.
Okay.
Right. But in terms of your spirituality, your value system, you see Jupiter in the Lagna only comes when you have really good, karmas of the past.
True.
Right. But now this is temporarily coming in your horoscope for almost 1 year, which will again, bring good karmas of the past in front of you. And if you can recognize those good karmas, you can work on your spirituality, ethics of life. You can go back and see the traditions of your life. If you can work on children, you can work on your marriage. If you can work on your long distance travel, dharma, education, guru, teachers, it's a wonderful opportunity. But the problem with Gemini Lagna is that Jupiter is also natural badak for them.
Okay.
Because it is the 7th lord. So in the dual signs, the 7th lord is Bhadakesh, right? Now Bhadakesh is harassment, it is tormentation, it is where the things get, stuck for you. So when Jupiter comes into the Lagna, if you are not doing your Gayatris, especially it is a golden opportunity for people to do Gayatri mantras and get initiated for Gayatri or Guru mantras, right? Then this transit will be good. Otherwise, Bhadakesh coming on the Lagna can definitely, stop many things for you. Maybe you can feel choked with your intelligence. Maybe you start getting problems related to your children. Maybe the long distance travels are being cancelled. Maybe some problems because Jupiter is going to aspect the 7th house. So that is where, it is a little problematic situation. But when you talk about Rahu and Ketu, here the Ketu is going to be in the 3rd house and the Rahu is going to be in the 9th house. Right now, Ketu in the 3rd house, a lot of people say it's like a Marankarak Sthan for Ketu. Ketu is also considered MKS in the 2nd house with many Padhatis. But what I personally believe about Ketu in the 3rd house is that it makes you super brave about certain things, because Ketu is headless bravery, right? And you got to watch what you speak. But if you were missing on your prakram, that effort, that you were not able to put, it's a time now you can put your effort in whatever you want to do. And on the same time, remember that Rahu is in its own sign transiting in the 9th house, which will again give you practical spirituality. Means suddenly you would have a lot of love for Bhagavad Gita and you will start reading Bhagavad Gita. Right? Bhagavad Gita is something which teaches you about practical life, about karma, about what is right, what is wrong. Right? So you may give up going to a temple, but suddenly you may start, following Gita and your life can transform. That is the beauty, with Rahu in the 9th house, and you may start following that routine very rigorously. Also, your long distance travels may start working
to religious places,
to religious places especially, right? Also, you can get, enhance the technology in your father's business, or maybe you start helping your guru to get technology, in a system. So that's what Rahu does for you in the 9th house. On the same time, when we look at Saturn, so Saturn is in the 10th house for you. It's going to make you work hard, right? So if you were missing some action, it is the time to get into the action. Again, it is good for you, right? You will get more opportunities for work, right? Maybe you'll feel a little bit isolated because from the 10th, Saturn is going to aspect your 12th house, which will give you some, isolation, but on the same time, it will also motivate you for meditation, right? So for Gemini also, I'm happy for, these transits that we have of all the 3 planets.
Okay, good news for Gemini too.
Right. So for
Gemini,
so Jupiter is in the Lagna, it's a Badaka Graha. So for such, cases, if Jupiter comes into the Lagna, the best remedies go to Shiva, right? If you can go to Shiva temple every day and pour some milk and offer flowers to the Shivalinga, because Jupiter is flowers, right? If you are in US or in the western part of the world, you can go to a church and offer flowers there. You can go to a Gurudwara and offer flowers there, because Jupiter is basically phool, right? So when you offer, because that's how you do it in everywhere. You do it in a temple, do in a church, in a Gurudwara, or in a mosque. The flowers are mandate.
Right.
And that's how you settle your Jupiter. The second thing they can do is they can help people in education. Right? When Jupiter is Badak, you should sponsor children for education.
Okay.
That's a remedy. Also, when you have Jupiter in the Lagna, the mantra is you start your day with Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. This is one mantra that really helps people with Jupiter in the Lagna. So you can chant, you can sing this mantra, you can make it, something which is 24/7 running in your mind. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Why? Because Shri Ram also had Jupiter in the Lagna.
Yeah.
So for Cancer, Ketu is in the 2nd house, Rahu is in the 8th house, Jupiter goes to the 12th house, and Saturn goes into your Bhagyasthana, the 9th house. You see, Cancer has to be little alert for 1 year. Having Ketu in the 2nd house, it makes you talk extremely, or it makes you very aggressive within the family. You see, I have seen people with Ketu in the 2nd house, they have very, very disturbed married life, very disturbed reputation within the family, and you will go and invest your earned money into headless investments. Suppose someone would come and say, okay, why don't you do an FD or a fixed deposit which is giving you 3 or 4%. So you'll put all your money into fixed deposits, not thinking of any other options. Ketu in the 2nd house also makes your food habits very, very traditional, right? Or either you can eat headlessly, or you'll be stuck in between those 2 meals that you take every day the same pattern.
Acha.
Which can create problems with the family. If you're traveling, no, I'm not eating this, I'm not doing that, which again spoils your reputation within the family. Also for your investments, for your money, Ketu in the second house is not good. Rahu in the 8th house can take you towards Tantra. See, 8th house is like a pit, right? 8th house is where you fall. You go inside, you look what is there inside, and then you learn and then come out. That's what Jyotish is all about. You know, when we start learning, you know, occult or Jyotisha, we thought that we can't learn it. I mean, this is so much. Every other student will feel the same. So when Rahu goes there, Rahu quickly wants to learn everything. And because of which, people will shift from Vedic Jyotish to Tantra. Because if you're doing a Vedic mantra, it will take at least 5 years, 10 years to get results. But Tantra can give you quick results, right? So you can be little distracted from your spirituality. Also, it can give you some unwanted, you know, events in life. If you are adventurous, be very careful, right? You may, you know, get into an accident or something, because it's Rahu is in the 8th house. And 8th house, whenever you have Rahu or Ketu transit, it takes you to hospital. It gives you those stitches, right? So you got to be very, very careful with that as well. 8th house is also your extended family. So you may get some deception or some confusions with your extended family as well. Now, talking about Saturn going in the 9th house, again, you can have some intense, you know, relationship or problems with your guru, with your father, with your teacher, right? So this Cancer, you know, Lagna people or Cancer moon sign, it's not a very, you know, productive 1 year where you'll have to make it productive. But there is one good news for them. The good news is that all these Cancer Rashi people, they were going through Ashtam Dhaya, right, which will be over. So whatever weight you were carrying here, because based on my experience, Dhaya is more severe than Sadhasati.
Is it?
It is actually. If you see, I mean, viewers can comment on it.
Yes, you're right.
Right. So Dhaya will completely choke your mind, will make you energyless. But a lot of people say Dhaya will give us financial troubles. No, the financial thing is something which is sorted in Dhaya, but you are so restricted, you are so energyless, and nothing is going your way. That's what happens in Dhaya. And for Cancer Rashi people, the Dhaya is going to be over. So that's the good news. But the Dhaya is going to begin for Leo Rashi.
Okay.
Right. So that's where the Cancer and the Leo, both these Rashis and the Lagnas, they have this difficult year coming ahead.
Okay. So Cancer and Leo will go through slightly different
challenges. There are challenges. You see, Jyotish is not about remedies. Jyotish is about managing if there is a challenge. Right. I know that I can get challenge in my family, so I can zip my, you know, my mouth, that I don't speak unnecessarily within the family. I don't try to dominate them. And similarly, you don't go to Tantra, you follow your guru rituals and whatever you're doing. Keep patience for 1 year. Right. That's what Jyotish is all about.
Right.
Right. And on the same time, when you have Saturn in the 9th house, Saturn also aspects the 11th house, the third aspect. So you see, another thing I must tell you, every planet has different aspects. Most of them has, you know, 1-7, but there are 3 planets, or maybe Rahu, you can say, they have, you know, different aspects. So the third aspect means struggles. Okay, 7th aspect means direct impact. 10th aspect means it is going to make you work hard. 8th aspect of Mars means it is going to transform. See, every aspect has a meaning. Right? So if similarly for Jupiter, if you have 5th aspect means creativity. So wherever you have Jupiter, you have a fifth aspect of Jupiter, you are going to be creative in that house.
Okay.
Because Jupiter is giving you that creativity. Ninth house is about dharma. So wherever you have Jupiter, the ninth house from the Jupiter, you will be extremely disciplined and you will follow protocols for that particular house. That's because of the drishti of the Jupiter. So every drishti is unique. You can't, have that same principle ki Saturn is looking at this, it will give you restriction. No. It will give, since the third aspect is, it's about sangharsh. It's about, you really working hard and getting the minimalistic result. So that's what the third drishti does.
Okay.
Right? It makes you work hard.
Okay.
Right? So for Cancer people, right, Saturn in the ninth house, it will be difficult for them to manage, their profits, their society, samaj. People will come back to them and say, aapne ye theek nahi kiya, aapne wo theek nahi kiya, this is wrong, that is wrong, right? And then they'll have those challenges, to have their reputation and answer those questions of society. For an example, if your daughter is probably 40 years old and she's not getting married and you are a Cancer mother, so people will come back to you, aap shaadi nahi kar rahe, she's not getting married, and you are okay with it because, for every child, the parents, the priority of a child is more important than the society. But you will get those questions from the society, which will be difficult for you to answer. That's the third aspect of Saturn sitting in the ninth, coming in the ninth, aspecting the 11th house.
Okay.
That's where you get such, but again, you see, everything can be managed if you know things. This is something that is going to happen. So Jyotisha is like, taking a bypass, or maybe keeping a lot of patience. So I see lot of people creating chaos and are giving fearful statements about Cancer Lagna or Cancer Moon sign, but it's not fearful, it is challenging for sure.
Okay.
Cancer Lagna people, the only remedy that they should do in this period is they should do a lot of social reforms.
Okay.
Right? Because when you look at Shri Ram himself was a Cancer Lagna. During his exile of 14 years, if you look at Ramayana, what has he done? He's done all social reforms.
Right.
Sorting Bali, sorting lot of other, who were people who were in jungles, and then Ahilya, right? So Ahilya was known as a rock lady. It's not because she was, a rocky personality, but she was someone who was very isolated, doesn't talk to the society and all that. But again, Shri Ram kept on moving in his life and kept on doing a lot of social reforms. One, marriage is a social reform which is given by Shri Ram, even though his father had multiple marriages.
Right.
Right. So that respect of women, in the Sanatan Dharma of marrying one woman at a time has come from Shri Ram.
Right.
So if you are Karka Lagna or a Karka Moon sign, you need to do social reforms. You need to help underprivileged people because Saturn is aspecting your 11th house of society, right? You need to help poor people, you need to help autistic children, you should give away your wealth a little bit in the charity, right? So these are the things. And when it comes to mantra japa, the best is Ram Nam. Right? If you keep on chanting Ram, 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 Ram. See, Ram is one word that has lot of Agni. The word Ra comes from Agni. So when you say Ram, that Agni coming from that Ram word burns your prarabdha.
Right.
Right? So for Karka Lagna and Karka Moon sign, you need to pray to Shri Ram.
Okay.
The Karka Lagna, Jupiter is also in the Dushtana Bhava. It's in the 12th house. So whenever Jupiter is in 6, 8 or 12 transiting, or in your natal horoscope, the best remedy is to either listen or to chant Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala Tantra. Okay, so if you go on YouTube, it is there. Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala Tantra. So this protects you, right? So for next 1 year, this is a prayer that Cancer Rashi or Cancer Lagna people should do it. See, Jupiter in the 12th house can give you certain health issues, right? Because I've seen that Jupiter in 6, 8 and 12 have capability to give health problems. Especially when you have Jupiter in the 12th house, there can be problems related to reproductive system.
Okay.
Right. So you got to be conscious. Again, the remedy for health problems if you face during this 1 year is Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala Tantra. So that is something that you need to do. Anyone who is facing problems in the back, lower back, the spine, that can also be because of Jupiter transiting in the 12th house, because it is going to aspect the 8th and the 4th.
Okay. Yeah, time for Leo.
Now for Leo, we have Ketu and Rahu transiting in the Lagna and the 7th house. Now one thing with Ketu in the Lagna is that you become a person who is talking to yourself all the time.
Acha.
Because of which the mind does not rest. So if you have Ketu in the Lagna, any one of you can comment that how many of you people keep talking to yourself and you feel isolated. I mean, people would come and tell you, hey, what happened? So nothing. But they feel as if you are in your own thought process.
Achha.
That's what Ketu does in the Lagna. Lot of thinking, lot of talking, which actually, make them a person who thinks a lot and does very less. Right? And that is why a lot of people will say that, having Ketu in the Lagna is like behaving headlessly.
Right.
Right? Actually, they are talking inside. They are not talking outside. It's a self-realization. But in Kali Yuga, we take it in a very different way. Rahu in the 7th house is also not very good for relationships, for marriage and for partnerships, where there'll be lot of problems here. So if you're doing any new collaborations, partnerships, or you're getting married, be very, very careful. Get all the pros and cons and, look at the charts of your partners and everything, and then go ahead with it. Otherwise, there can be problems. On the same time, for Leo, Jupiter is in the 11th house, which is good, right? Because Jupiter will aspect their 3rd house from the 11th. Also, Jupiter is going to aspect their 5th house, which is again, in evoking their punya karmas. See, this Jupiter is one savior for the Leo rising. But when it comes to Saturn, again, Saturn is going into the 8th house. Now, 8th house Saturn has one trouble. Saturn doesn't like to go in the pit for a long time.
Okay.
Right? Saturn, if goes into a pit, it will take a very long time to recover and come out of it, because it is naturally a very slow planet. So if there is an accident, or if there is a problem, or if there is a conflict, it will take a very long time to resolve that conflict.
Achha. Okay.
Right? So suppose you went through a surgery, so the surgery will take a very long time to recover.
Okay.
That's what happens. And Saturn is also a natural Maraka Graha for you. It's not a very favorable planet. It's also not the Mitra of your Lagna. And going into the 8th house is a problematic situation. The only thing is, with Saturn in the 8th house, you don't get mukti. You don't get away from things. That is why people say if you have Saturn in the 8th house, you have long life. Long life means you're not coming out of this body, even if you're struggling all the time. So if, Leo rising or Leo Rashi, if you get yourself into a problem, you're going to take a very long time to recover from that problem.
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. And it will be very, very frustrating, especially if you get, problems with your extended family, with your in-laws, right? Because that's 8th house,
8th house,
right? Or sudden profits or losses, right? or maybe you get problem with your crypto, or maybe you lose some money into shares, and you come back and tell me that when will I come out of that situation, when will I recover the money that I've lost. It's going to take a long time here. Right. So for Leo Lagna, Aditya Hriday Stotram is one remedy, because Shani can be controlled by Surya.
Surya, right.
Surya can control Saturn.
Also by Mars.
Also by Mars, but Surya is one who really controls Saturn very well. So doing Gayatri Mantra, giving Jala to the Surya, doing Aditya Hriday Stotram, they're very good remedies for the Leo rising or the Leo sign.
Wow, okay, you've got your remedy.
Right. So for Virgo Lagna and Virgo Moon sign, I'm happy about it.
Okay.
We'll have Rahu transiting in the 6th house and Ketu in the 12th house. Also, we'll have Jupiter coming in the Dasham Bhava, which is again the 10th house, and Saturn in the 7th house with Sampurna Digbala, complete directional strength. You see, Preetika ji, one thing I've always experienced is having a planet which is exalted, or having a planet which is of own sign. If you compare it with a planet with directional strength, the planet with directional strength is fantastic. All those people who have Venus in the 4th house, they would naturally live in very luxurious societies, even if they have 1 BHK. Right. Similarly, when you have Saturn transiting in your 7th house, and Saturn being a benefic planet in your particular Lagna or Rashi, it is going to give you great results. Right. Rahu in the 6th will help you in problem solving abilities. So if you have, because of your dasha, if you have any court cases running or any litigations running, Rahu will take you out of this, or will give you a straight victory. That's what Rahu does. And Ketu, in the 12th house, again will help you to get into meditation, into understanding yourself, what is right, what is wrong. And with Jupiter in the 10th house, will create opportunities for you, especially at your work, especially at your business. But again, Jupiter is also Bhadaka Graha, so it will be little slow. But definitely Jupiter coming in the Kendra, it is very, very powerful. So for all those Virgo rising and Virgo Rashi, it is a good, transit of all the three, planets. But on the same time, I must tell you that Virgo ki gati Vishnu Sahasra Naam ke bina nahi hoti hai. That's something, which is coming from the Raj Jyotish. So if you are Virgo Lagna or Virgo Moon sign, Vishnu Sahasranama has to be a daily routine without a disconnect. Right? So see, whenever you have good transits, Preetika ji, that's an opportunity that you should manifest whatever you can in those 12, 13 months, because the cosmos is going to support you. Right? So that's an opportunity for Virgo. So I'm happy for Virgo. The only problem that I see for Virgo is stomach issues, because Rahu is coming in the 6th house. They can have bacterial infections, or if you are addicted to smoking and drinking, you have to be careful. It can give you bacterial problems, viral issues, viruses in the stomach, because Rahu is also a kind of a virus. So 6th house, you can get gut issues, so you got to be very careful with your gut health. But otherwise, overall, it is very, very good. But in case you have problems with your stomach, with your gut, the first thing that you need to take care is stop having milk, right? Because Rahu actually gets negatively influenced by Moon, right? It destroys the Jal Tattva and the milk. So technically, if you have any problems coming with 5th house and 6th house, the first thing that you should stop intake is milk. right? Immediately you'll get a lot of relief. But overall for Rahu, it's a good 1 year.
For Virgo ascendant.
So for the Virgo ascendants, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yes, now Libra.
For the Libra, we have Rahu and Ketu making a Saraswati Yoga again. Rahu transiting in the 5th house and Ketu in the 11th house, with Saturn in the 6th house and Brihaspati in the Bhagyasthana in the 9th house. Now with this particular position, again you can launch yourself, because Rahu in the 5th house and Ketu in the 11th house, it's the most powerful and the strongest position for Ketu.
Acha.
You see, anyone who has Ketu in the 10th house or Ketu in the 11th house is a person who is super brave about his profession.
Okay.
These are the people who've left their jobs and have become entrepreneurs in their life. See, Ketu in the 10th house or in the 11th house can make you think headlessly of resigning, quitting a job and getting into a business. You need that bravery. So when you have this Rahu Ketu transiting, especially Ketu in the 10th or in the 11th house, is superb. So if you were planning to leave that job which you don't like and you want to start something of your own, it's a huge opportunity for Libra.
Acha, this year.
Right? This year. And it is going to give you a successful path. The platform will be created and you will go ahead. On the same time, Saturn in the 6th house. You see, Saturn in the 6th house is again a very good position for Saturn. Saturn loves to be in Dushthanas. Saturn loves to be in 6, 8 and 12. Here, it can give you long working hours, which may be a need of your new enterprise that you've just made. It is going to support you with that. Saturn in the 6th house is also capable of getting you loans, right? So, and if you check your chart in totality, you can definitely wear a blue sapphire for 1 year, right? Because it is said that whenever Saturn transits in the signs of Jupiter, maybe in Sagittarius or in Pisces, it is golden opportunity to wear blue sapphire, because Saturn is blessed by the signs of Jupiter.
And in case they don't want to wear blue sapphire, can they wear a lapis or something?
Yes, they can always wear the alternate stones, right, and which are less cheaper and equally effective. Right, so they can wear these gemstones as well. But on the same time, for Libra people, one thing they have to take care is about their bosses, because you have Jupiter coming in the 9th house, so there may be a conflict. Jupiter in the 9th house has capability to enhance your spirituality, dharma, but there may be a conflict between you and your bosses basis on the traditions.
Would it be Guru also? You and the Guru also?
Yeah, it can be with the Guru as well.
Achha.
So maybe that, Guru is trying to promote something and you're opposing him, that no, this is a very, very traditional, we need to upgrade it to a different level. That is where, there can be a conflict. So all I would suggest you here is to just calm down, right? Take it easy and start doing Shiva Sahasranama from Linga Purana. So for Dushtana Brihaspati, it is Rudra Yamala Tantra, Shiva Sahasranama. For, we have Karka Brihaspati, because Brihaspati is also Karka of the 9th house.
Okay.
So if you have Brihaspati transiting in the Karka Bhavas, it is Shiva Sahasranama from Linga Purana. That will definitely give you a lot of support.
Okay. So this is the remedy for
Libra
ascendants
Yeah.
and Libra moon. Okay.
Yeah. For Scorpio, right, it is going to be a little challenging year. Rahu and Ketu is going to transit in the 4th and the 10th house, wherever Saturn is in the Ashtama Bhava sorry, the Brihaspati, Jupiter is in the Ashtama Bhava, 8th house, and Saturn is going to be in the 5th house. Now, here for Scorpio Rashi or Scorpio Lagna, the most problematic graha would be Jupiter. See, right now Jupiter was in the 7th house, and you were feeling good about your daily income, and your relationship, your marriage really went where you were gelling with your life partner, and there were reforms in your marriage. But now, when you have Jupiter transiting in your 8th house, the first thing you'll have is serious health troubles.
Which month is that? March?
Yes. Right, which is my 14th, 2025 onwards. So health problems, the first thing that happens with Jupiter in the 8th house is you get problems in your spine.
Oh,
right.
okay.
You will have problems in your lower back. Anyone, even if you have Jupiter in your natal chart in the 8th house, 99% of the people will face problems in their spine.
Okay.
Right, because Jupiter in the 8th house is Nija Dosha. Nija Dosha means that you've done something wrong with your guru or a teacher personally. Nija means personally, not collectively or non-intentionally. It has been something intentionally that was done wrong with your teacher or a guru.
In the past life?
In the past life.
Okay.
So, whenever Jupiter transits in the 8th house, that things come up.
Oh.
If it is not there in the natal chart. So, you got to be very careful, and the results are very, very severe. I've seen people getting into accident, people getting into sudden loss of the job, certain losses in the share market and crypto. So you got to be very careful. The most important and the must remedy should be Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala. Right? That's something very, very important. Second, since they have Rahu and Ketu, Rahu in the 4th house, it can give you problems related to heart. Right? Because Rahu in the 4th house can give you surgery, which is cardiac surgery, maybe a stunt or something. Got to be very careful with respect to your cholesterol levels and your lifestyle, and you should go for walks and watch what you eat. The problem with Scorpio Lagna is the Scorpio Lagna does not watch what he or she eats. They are foodie people, right? They love to eat and they can eat junk. On the same time, they're also short-tempered and impulsive, right? And so where you will have problems with Rahu in the 4th house, right? I have seen Scorpio Lagna people naturally having problems with BP, blood pressure, because of their impulsiveness, right? Because of their short-temperedness. And but again, your Ketu in the 10th house for Scorpio will open doors for new opportunities. So if you want to start a new job, a new business, or you want a startup, it's a very good time. But it will bring its own challenges, right? But yes, you will be bold enough to take that particular decision.
Would it give them travel?
It can give them travel as well.
For work?
For work. On the same time, Saturn is in the 5th house, where your romantic life can come to a halt, right? You'll be more disciplined and organized about your mantras, about your spiritual life, and you will try to be very, very disciplined about your children, right? So you may have some misconceptions with the children, right?
So this will be for how many months?
This is at least till February 2028. So 2.5, 3 years of Saturn transit in the 5th house is technically challenging between the relationship of parents and children, right? But on the same time, if you do your spirituality, if you do your mantras, and if you do your daily rituals, it is going to be a lot of relief. On the same time, there's one remedy that has really worked for Scorpio Rashi and Scorpio Lagna people is reading Shiv Mahapuran. So buy it on the day of Amavasya, right? Because Bhagavad Gita you buy on Purnima, and Shiv Mahapuran you buy on Amavasya, right? And keep it in the northeast of your home, wrapped in a good yellow silk cloth. Treat it as Mahadev and start reading one chapter every day. The first thing, that happens to Scorpio Lagna or Scorpio Rashi people is their anger goes away, their impulsiveness goes away, and on the same time they become a very, extremely good human being when it comes to their eating habits. Suddenly, from all those spicy and junk food, they will come back to a very normal food. And it is said, "Jaisa an, vaisa man," right? So that is, one revolution which is very important for Scorpio Lagna. Although I've seen very fit people also with Scorpio, but in majority, the Scorpio rising and Scorpio Rashi, they tend to get carried away with food, and they are very choosy about that food. And if they can quit that particular thing, they can be one of the best Lagnas, because the beauty of Scorpio Lagna is loyalty. So if they are loyal to someone, if they have good positions of the planets, they can be extremely loyal people, and they come out of a situation quickly. Suppose there is a fight, so probably they will not prolong it for 10 days. They would want to resolve that issue as soon as possible. So these are the good qualities, and reading Shiv Mahapuran is a blessing, and especially within this 1 year when you have Jupiter in your 8th house aspecting your 4th house, aspecting your 2nd house and your 12th house, it is like activating your moksha trikona, right? And if you read Shiv Mahapuran, the first few chapters of Vidveshwar Samhita, it clearly says that if you read, the Shiv Mahapuran has the ability to take you out of this vicious circle, right? It can burn your prarabdha. So that is one remedy which is must for Scorpio Lagna people.
Wow.
For Sagittarius Lagna, again it is going to be little challenging, because we have Rahu in the 3rd house and Ketu in the 9th house. Extremely good for spirituality, right? But on the same time, when we have Saturn in the 4th house, it actually dries the sukha, right? It dries the comfort. It dries the relationship within the family. People start living life in the same roof, but their individual lives. So that is what happens when Saturn comes into 4th house. But the good thing is we have Brihaspati in the Saptama Bhava in the 7th house for Sagittarius people. But the problem with Brihaspati in the 7th house or Jupiter in the 7th house is it loses Digbala. It loses that directional strength, and you got to be very careful with your relationships. Right, because Jupiter in the 7th house is not good for married life.
Right.
Jupiter will pull you away for spirituality. You want to be very spiritual in society, looking at the 11th house. Your whole day would be mantra chanting and everything, and your partner would feel as if you are ignoring him or her.
Achha.
That's what happens with Jupiter in the 7th house. Not good for relationships. But when it comes to partnerships, if you carefully do the partnerships, it is very, very rewarding, because Jupiter is also the Lagna Lord coming into the Kendra, which is good. So Jupiter is a great rescue when it comes to spirituality. Ketu and Rahu, especially Rahu in the 3rd house, can give you great problem solving ability, right? Rahu in the 3rd house can give you that frame of mind to do startups. Something new, something revolutionary. And Ketu in the 9th house will make you super brave about traveling, about protocols. You will be headlessly dedicated to your guru. That's something which is so beautiful about Ketu in the 9th house. And overall, if I say the only problematic area for Scorpio would be Saturn in the 4th house. Right, for Sagittarius Lagna would be Saturn in the 4th house, because you see, based on my experience with Saturn in the 4th house, the biggest problem is with your work. If you're in a regular 8 to 8 or 9 to 5 job, you will see as if your progress has gone down and you're not getting those promotions, right? And you're unable to maintain your daily routine, which is also the 6th house, right? Also, Saturn in the 4th house slow downs your Lagna, which is your intelligence, because it has an aspect on your Lagna as well. So you'll face these problems, but Saturn can be sorted by Surya, right? So if you do Aditya Hridaya Stotram, and if you do your Gayatris, if you give Jala to the Surya, they are the best remedies that you can do in this particular time. But definitely, Sagittarius people, you can have startups, there will be revolutions in your spirituality, which is what we are here for. That is our actual purpose.
What kind of problems does Saturn in 4th give with your house?
See, in terms of house, the 4th house is Sukhasthana, right? So suppose you have family and you have 5 people in the family. All those other 4 people will think that you are very dry with them.
Okay.
You are maybe self-obsessed.
Okay.
Right? That's the problem with Saturn in the 4th house. Wherever you have Saturn, it's going to create a lot of practicality into that house. That's where, see, Saturn is extremely hardworking energy. It is working all the time. And you need to relax in the 4th house. You need to sit with people. So, parents of someone who has Saturn in the 4th house, parent would always complain that why don't you sit with me, you don't talk to me, you're in your self-thought, we need you, you should come and talk to us. That's where Saturn in the 4th house is a problem. But professionally, if Saturn is a Yoga Karaka Graha or Saturn is a favorable planet in your horoscope, Saturn in the 4th house is a Raj Yoga. I have seen Saturn in the 4th house of superbly rich people who have done very well in their life has Saturn in the 4th house. But Saturn has to be a favorable graha for them.
In your natal horoscope?
Yes.
Your birth horoscope?
Yes. For Capricorn Lagna, it's going to be a mixed 2025. The only problem here that I see for Capricorn Lagna is Jupiter in the 6th house. See, Jupiter in the 6th house has ability to give you diseases that are related to liver. Right? It gives you that fatty liver, high cholesterols and triglycerides can go very high. It can also give you a lot of loans, unwanted loans. Suppose you get an offer of getting 10 lakh and you just one click away. Don't do that. Right? That's where, Capricorn people can be troubled, because Jupiter in the 6th house is going to expand their 6th house, which is debts, which is enemies, which is diseases. And Jupiter is Karaka of diseases which comes from fat, especially the liver issues or type 2 diabetes, right? So got to be careful. You should watch what you eat. You should work out every single day. Saturn in the 3rd house transiting is very good for Capricorn. You see, just like Saturn loves the 6th house or the 8th house or the 12th house, Saturn also loves the 3rd house, right? Because see, the things would be slow, but you are going to come out as a winner with Saturn in the 3rd house. So that's a very, very good, transit for Capricorn. Now, Rahu and Ketu. Rahu in the 2nd house will make you money centric. You will start thinking of, earning more money in your life. You will get ideas. You can also invest in shares. You can invest in cryptos, because you have Jupiter Drishti on Rahu. So when Jupiter is aspecting Saturn or Rahu, it is a golden opportunity for you to make money in the share trading.
Okay.
Right? If you see a chart of any well-known person who's earned millions in shares, they would always have Saturn and Jupiter sambandha, relationship, right? Either Jupiter would be aspecting Saturn or Saturn would be aspecting Jupiter, or they'll be sitting together and making Raj Yogas, right? So this is something which is an opportunity for Capricorn people. Ketu in the 8th house has again ability to give you occult, right? You may learn occult sciences. You may get little isolated from your extended family, right? Ketu in the 8th house has the ability to give you surgeries as well. So if you have any surgery which is pending, go and get it done, because the surgery would be successful. But if you are fond of adventurous activities, you got to be careful, because Ketu can give you those small accidents which will lead to some surgeries and all. Because
does Ketu also give cuts?
It gives cuts, and especially 8th house is where things are sudden, right? So here you need to be careful. But Rahu in the 2nd house, you should watch what you eat. You can be tempted towards non-vegetarian food, drinking. Also about foods which are from the foreign lands, right? Suddenly you'll try and eat foods which you've never eaten before. So that's what happens when Rahu transits in the 2nd house, which is good and bad both, but in limit it would be fine. But if you overdo it, there will be health issues.
All right.
Right, now the remedy for the Capricorn Lagna is again Jupiter in the 6th house. It's Shiva Sahasranama from Rudra Yamala Tantra. So this will give you a lot of relaxation. Your liver issues or stomach issues or gut health will be taken care of, but you need to work out. You see, I've seen a lot of Capricorn people who are naturally very slow, in getting up, doing things and exercising, although they have a lot of capability. But going or hitting a gym or doing your yoga, going for walks is something which is must for Capricorn people for 1 year, because Jupiter is in the 6th house. You can put on weight with Jupiter in the 6th house. And all those people who have Jupiter in the 6th house in the natal chart, they will face, weight issues. They can get their weight, so quickly. So, that's where the problem is with Jupiter in the 6th house.
Okay. Now Aquarius.
So for Aquarius Lagna, it is in a way it is a great transit, because Rahu is in the Lagna and we are in Kali Yuga, and having Rahu in the Lagna is going to enhance your intelligence. Right? You will feel more sharpened, more intelligent. But on the same way, you can also, at the same time, you can develop an attitude towards my way or highway. That's the problem with Rahu in the Lagna in the Aquarius sign. You disagree to a lot of people on a lot of things, and that, nature can come back, right? So that's where you have to be careful. However, you'll have Jupiter in the 5th house, which is again enhancing your spirituality. Jupiter is going to look at your Lagna. Jupiter is also going to look at your 9th house, in your house of gains in the 11th house. So here Jupiter is going to create opportunities for you. It's a good transit of Jupiter. On the same time, Ketu is in the 7th house. This is not good for married life, because here, in the 7th house, if you're running a divorce or a case, you'll be out of it, quickly, because Ketu is also Karaka of separating. Right. It separates quickly. On the same time, when you talk about Saturn, the Saturn is coming in your 2nd house. Now, for Aquarius Lagna or Aquarius Rashi, Saturn is the Rashi Lord or it's the Lagna Lord, and going into the 2nd house is very good for family reforms, creating fixed assets. So if you want to buy a home or want to invest in a particular property, it's a very good time, because from there Saturn is going to aspect the 4th house through the 3rd aspect, which is very good for you, right? So if you're planning to buy a house and you're not getting that deal in America or Canada, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time. After March 28th 2025, you'll get it, right? You will get it. So that's something very, very good. But Jupiter in the 5th house, you want results. Shiva Sahasranama from Linga Purana is something that you should listen every day. For Ketu in the 7th house, you should start feeding dogs or get a dog at home. That's very good when you have Ketu in the 7th house. So having a dog at home with Ketu in the 7th house gives you a lot of prosperity. Will give you a lot of money. If you are in a work or a business of daily income, so having a dog at home with Ketu in the 7th house, your daily income will enhance.
Okay. Nice.
For Pisces Lagna, this is one year which is going to make you slow, right? Because Saturn is in the Lagna. And Saturn transiting in the Lagna, it's a Marankarak Sthan for Lagna, but on the same time, it is also going to go over your moon, right? And it's going to make your life a little slow and difficult, where you will find a lot of unconventional things happening. You can have problems with the labor, right? If you're dealing with a factory or labor every day, you can have issues with them. You'll have to step down to their level and might have to work with them, right? So that's what happens when Saturn in the Lagna. On the same time, Rahu and Ketu. Ketu is in the 6th house, Rahu is in the 12th house. Again, Ketu in the 6th house is not good for gut health, right? It gives you those bacterial diseases when transiting over the 6th house. It can give you a severe IBS, right? On the same time, the rescue here is coming from Jupiter.
What is IBS?
It is irritable bowel syndrome,
Okay.
right? Which is a problem with your large intestine, and you have a lot of troubles. You have to go and you get foamy stools, and you have to clear your stomach in 3-4 times. You have pain and acid refluxes. So this is what Ketu does in the 6th house during its transit. But the rescue here for Pisces Lagna and Pisces sign is coming from Jupiter. Jupiter is transiting in the Chaturtha Bhava, which is itself a Raj Yoga, will give you a lot of happiness within the family. It's also going to aspect your Moksha Trikona. So if you are trying to get onto some meditation group, or you're trying to enhance your spirituality, or wanted to learn Jyotisha or occult sciences, it is a fantastic opportunity. Jupiter will also aspect your 10th house from the 7th aspect. It will also give you desire, to do something new and revolutionary at your work, and Jupiter will support you for it. So it's a good time. The remedy when you have Saturn in the Lagna is the Gayatri mantra. You should not have a single day in your life without Gayatri mantra and doing Aditya Hriday Stotram. Very, very important. So Pisces Lagna, it's a mixed result. Spirituality will enhance, but the things will get slow around you people.
Wow. So that was a very fruitful and a very productive episode. 12 Rashis, 12 Lagnas also we've covered, not only the Lagnas but also Moon Rashi signs. So and remedies also, very practically. The big takeaway from this is that there could be transits and planets, and we could be helpless and all of that, but the remedial part of it, which are the mantras, I think that is a very huge takeaway for us, because one of the reasons why Navneet ji is giving mantra remedies is because even I personally also believe in mantra remedies. They are more pure and holy and spiritual in nature, rather than doing these, like these very quick remedies like Lal Kitab and all, which I personally don't believe in, because there is huge karma associated with, planetary transits and with all the misfortunes that one goes through due to the planetary transits. So these quick remedies may, help you a little bit, but they may not make your planets, they may not leave your planets very happy. So sometimes remedies backfire, and when they backfire very badly. So I would still go ahead with mantras as remedies rather than, any of these totkas and these Lal Kitab remedies. Am I right about it?
Absolutely correct. You summarized it very well.
Thank you so much, and hope you have a fabulous 2025. Whichever Rashi or Zodiac sign you are, Moon sign, not the Linda Goodman sun signs. We're talking about the horoscope Lagna sign here. I wish you a lot of success in 2025, good health, prosperity, and above all, do good, be a good person, focus on your karma, because that's going to take you places. Also subscribe to my channel, because we are pioneers in astrology podcasts in India. So yes, stay tuned for more. Lots of love.